Welcome to another OCD Recovery Instagram Live. I'm going to be doing a question and answers format on here today. So if you've got any questions you want to ask about your OCD, message them in on the bottom here in the comments section and I will cover those. Anything you want to ask about your OCD, any fears, we cover everything on here. It gives you a chance to be able to speak with me about your OCD and to cover things. We run webinars and group calls. Webinars are once every sort of 2-3 weeks or so. So it gives you a chance to come in and ask questions on the webinars and listen to the speakers, including myself, talking about different thoughts, themes of OCD. I don't like the term themes, but people refer to it as themes, so it's obviously quite sort of self-explanatory like that. We run the group calls each week as well, where you can come along. But otherwise, there's lots of free resources. There's the YouTube channel, which if you haven't subscribed to, please do, where we're uploading about 20 videos a week, all about OCD. And then you've obviously got this Instagram Live for question and answers. And you've also got the Facebook group, which has got loads and loads of moderators in there, helping, supporting with lots of different things OCD. Some of the ways that we're trying to change OCD at the moment, bring it out of the dark. We're going to be doing lots of other languages, other language sites and so on, other language social media pages to cover OCD for those of you who English isn't a first language. It will be covering all of that. So we'll be doing that and hopefully some other YouTube and video channels in other languages too. Any questions you want to ask relating to your OCD, please do so in the comments here and I will respond to them now. Why does schizophrenia or OCD feel like the symptoms of psychosis? They're always going to feel as real as it can get. They're always going to feel like it. So whether you've got sort of gay OCD, it's going to feel like you're gay and you can't tell the difference. If it's a relationship OCD, you're going to feel like maybe you don't love them and can't tell the difference. If it's a schizophrenia sort of psychosis related OCD, you're going to feel like you sort of like it's going to feel as real as it can get. If it didn't feel as real as it can get, it wouldn't be the disorder it is. It's only a disorder, otherwise you'd just sort of brush it off as nothing. How to deal with hopeless feelings? Well, hopeless feelings come about from beliefs that you have, which you're holding, which are things to do with, things either it's so bad, it's impossible, I'll never get better. You need to take it one day at a time, break it down into little sections and go through those separately. If you're trying to do it all in one go, it's too much. If you try and view it as a very sort of the whole of life in one go, it feels overwhelming and so on. So it's about learning step by step to break these things down. That's what's going to get you better. And that's a key part. Don't try and sort of get yourself completely fully motivated to have whole of life cracked, because you're not gonna do it like that. Tips on how to deal with HOCD even when your mind is tired of denying. Well, HOCD all comes down to learning to obviously create the distance, like with all OCD thoughts, learning to be able to create the distance between the thought and yourself. But usually you need to get under it at the core more, with the worst case scenario, for example, saying learning to break down why it wouldn't be so unbearable, certainly wouldn't be if you were gay, bringing it down, taking down that catastrophizing. A great video on our YouTube channel for that is Sadie's video that got uploaded this week, where she covers all about HOCD, and she did another one on TOCD, lesser spoken about OCD, but one of the most common sort of themes, thoughts at the moment. Is it possible to have OCD without compulsions? Absolutely. That's what it is in the terms of, sort of pure OCD, although I don't like that term. Although it's just OCD but without compulsions. An outward compulsion or not makes no difference. You've got OCD. That's how it operates. Let's have a look here at questions. You won't be able to be sure it's real event OCD. You're not going to be able to get confirmation. If we could prove to ourselves that it's definitely OCD and not OCD, then we would all just break free from it as soon as we were able to do that. There is no equation to do that, no sort of tip trick for determining that to demonstrate it to your brain. Even when we think, yeah, we've got a rough idea it's not OCD, all the odds show it's unlikely to be OCD, but it will still convince us. So we don't go down that path towards recovery. That doesn't mean we don't have a rough idea. We've got a rough idea, like I'm not going to jump off this balcony, but it's going to feel as real as it can get. OCD will switch themes regularly. That's the nature of it. It will keep looking for somewhere to get a grip on. It's going to do that. That is exactly what it does do. It's like if it didn't do that, then someone would just get over one theme, it'd be gone, and then they would never have a problem again. So, but by nature, it's gonna do that. Can you experience many OCD themes at a time? Absolutely, you can experience many. I had various different OCD themes along the way. Not just one theme. Sometimes it was locked on like one for years, and other times it moved around. Sometimes many times a day. So it's going to move around. That's the nature of it. Guilt in POCD there's some great videos on the YouTube channel on chronic guilt. Oliver does a great video on POCD as well. So if you check out our OCD Recovery YouTube channel, and please subscribe to that, you'll find lots of videos on guilt. Yeah, the question that there's in relation to pregnancy, turning up its heat at different parts, it's the same as like with holidays, weddings, buying a house or so on. It's going to turn up the heat towards the event. It's going to do that because it knows that you don't want that disrupted. So it's going to turn up the heat as things and change is occurring. I'm scared to be a mum after having about POCD. Be a mum and bring any thought along for the ride. Don't let OCD stop you from living your life goals that you want to. False memory OCD, you're not going to be able to tell between if it's real or not. It's all approached with unconditional self-acceptance to get under it. If you didn't have conditional acceptance, you wouldn't care what was in the past. I couldn't care what was in the past, whether it was real or whether it's a thought. Listen to that again, whether it's real or it's a thought. I can see the only thing that would keep me anxious, chronically anxious, would be my perception of that event. Don't try and get rid of OCD. It's not getting rid, it's a bringing it along for the ride, making peace with it, coming along for the journey. If you're trying to eliminate it and push it away and get rid of it, then it sort of digs its heels in and clings on. Some of these questions are reassurance. That's not why I'm answering them. Suicide OCD will cover in a separate YouTube video on that specific topic. I will be saving this Instagram live and posting it shortly. Weird sensations and that sort of just right OCD, you've got to get used to those weird sensations and not try and get rid of them. It's to try to eliminate them. Feel whatever weird sensation you feel it at any time, allow it to be there, whatever. There's no big deal. It's just our interpretation of them, any sensation. Think of all weird sensations people live with different diseases, and they do all of that and they just bring that along for the ride, and that's what you've got to do with OCD. Stop trying to get it all just right and feeling nice. Dreams are the same as thoughts. Just approach them exactly the same as that. I am writing a book at the moment. There is a book going to be coming out soon. I'm taking my time with it because it takes a while, and I'm enjoying the process. And we've had a lot going with the new website that's going to be launched in the next week or two. We'll be talking all about our coaching services that I offer. And it'll be talking all about my journey with OCD, how I got to where I am today with what I do with OCD, and all the different journeys of people that I've taken through the recovery journeys. Anything that you're regretting in the past is only because of conditional self-acceptance. If you accepted yourself unconditionally, you wouldn't be concerned with anything in the past. Just reading these questions. Yes, it is possible to have OCD. Well, no, you've always got OCD, but it will be there at more stressful times and less other times. That being just because of how it raises its head up. It's not that it's not there. It's most biologically or genetically there on some level, but it's raising its head up at different times when it's got the chance to do that, because it sort of pulls on the strings gets triggered at those moments. First book I recommend is on the reading list. It's called How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything. Kirsty does a good sort of brief video about that, talking about that book on the YouTube channel. If you check out Kirsty's video that was from the day before yesterday, the book's called How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything by Albert Ellis, the founder of CBT. In relation to questions about meds, you need to ask your doctor about medication. It's very important that you speak with them. Don't go off medication off forums and things like that. Speak to your doctor about medication. People can say about their stories with different meds and how it's helped them, but they can't. But you need a doctor to help you with medication advice and tell you about that. ACT therapy is an important part of the journey, acceptance commitment therapy. It's an important part of the journey. It's got some very helpful principles that were very helpful to me, but without the work of Dr. Albert Ellis getting under there with the unconditional self and life acceptance, OCD tends to not release. It tends to grip on a lot of occasions. Many occasions it doesn't, but usually to really get under it, especially with false memory and sort of real event OCD, it tends to need that. Questions like, is OCD completely treatable, as reassurance? For the breathing related OCDs and sort of somatic sensory motor OCD, please check out the YouTube channel. Nick's got some great videos on there. Sufferer of That really goes into that in detail. Yeah, ERP, just exposures. Exposures, let's get rid of the fancy names. It's just facing fears, just seeing something in life, something, and seeing for what it is. And all it is just facing something, seeing it's not scary, and that's it. So obviously that is an important part of life, facing things, seeing they're not scary, and moving forward with that. And so it's important, but it doesn't mean we've got to eliminate everything with exposures, certainly not from a sort of eliminate mindset. And people often chase exposures for relief, constantly chasing what's exposures next, what exposures next. Okay, guys. I will see you on the next Instagram Live. I was only going to be on here quickly today, just to do different question and answers, get back on here, because I've been busy this week with different things. So I'll be back on again soon, doing more Q&As, covering more of your questions so that you can come on here and ask anything you want to ask. My new website will be out in the next, say, 2 weeks or so, talking all about the coaching that I do and all the things that we run to help you get better with OCD. So yeah, please check that out. We'll be launching that shortly. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. We've got 20 plus videos going up there a week. So we're trying to build it into one of the central hubs for OCD, free OCD content. So yeah, please check those videos out and let us know your feedback on those. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Take it easy.